Hey y'all, it's Kirk here with Space Pickle Designs, and today I have this beautiful chunky gemstone necklace with a vintage button focal, and you can use whatever beads that you have. I got these beads from Beadbox Bargains because they had like these really rough chunky nugget gemstone beads, and so I used a whole strand of those, but like it is going to look different and beautiful with every single combination of beads that you choose. So I can't wait to see if you guys replicate this. If you do, please tag me. But let me know down in the comments what I should name this necklace, and let's just get started. You're looking at my mat. You've already seen the finished necklace. However, these are all of the items that I pulled out. Just to get us started, I have some acrylic flowers in a few different shapes. I have a bunch of vintage salvaged buttons in purples and pinks, and I brought out a red one just in case. I think I do kind of want to stick to the purples and pinks, but we'll see if we need that. I also brought out some like gold and bronze tone ones as well. There's a mother of pearl one, and then I have these vintage little, these are like little buttons, and these are like wood, and I'm gonna use one of these as a toggle bar, so to speak. So I can go ahead and put the rest of them off to the side. I have a whole bag of vintage beads, so yes, like on the cards, some of these cards look crazy and gross, but you have to like think about how old these are probably. So I got quite a few. I love these, so I think I definitely want to use some of those, and I just brought them all out, but we don't need these buttons just yet. We do need this toggle bar, and so I'm going to put the rest of the buttons kind of off to the side, because this is going to be our embellishment and not necessarily like what we need as our base. And so here we go. I do want to find, let me see, I want to find some beads to make a little embellishment. So I'm going to try to find some 4mm beads to pull out, probably 4 or 6, to match my gemstone beads here. And these are so chunky. This is a strand that I got from Bargain Bead Box, and we are going to use the entire strand today, so it's going to be quite a chunky necklace. So I found a bead, and this is a check bead, and it's just a small like little 4mm cube. I brought out these fire polish that are, well, they're not fire polish, but they're in a fire polish style. They're like a crystal with a half coating on them, and but I think they're too sparkly. I kind of want to keep this more earthy looking, and so I'm gonna go with this really beautiful check glass. And so what I'm gonna do is create my little, it's basically like a spacer is what I'm gonna create. And I'm gonna take Nymo size D, and I'm gonna take a needle, and I think this is probably a 10, so it's a big needle. And man, I haven't pulled out the needle in a while, but you know, I have an idea. So I just pulled off a very small amount, and what I'm gonna do is kind of like put enough on here to where it makes a ring that is a size that I want. And so this has 6, let's put 7 on and see what that ring looks like. And to make that ring, we just go back through that first bead that we added and around. And so I'm just putting my needle through all of the beads again. And I do think this will be long enough, or big enough, excuse me. And so I'm just gonna go and feed it back through because we want to make sure that our ring is tight. And so we have our 2 strands. And what I want to do here is actually tie a knot. So that we have one overhand knot, do another one, and then we go through. So this is what kind of what our ring will look like. From the side, it's gonna look like this, which I'm totally okay with. If you don't like the string kind of peeking through in between those beads, you can find a different shape. Round beads would probably not show that as much. And so what we do here, since we've already tied our knot, we just want to make sure our tails are far away from the knot. And I'm going to tie another half hitch. Do the same with our other tail. Now this is like overkill, to be honest. Like I put a lot of knots, and like I don't foresee it getting that much wear to where I would need to do that many. But you know, I'm gonna put some knots in places that didn't have knots. Just to kind of spread the knot love. And hopefully that'll keep it a cylinder, or like a round shape. So we'll put, I'm gonna cut off my thread here. And here is our little ring component. Now this is essentially a beaded spacer bead. I don't know how else to describe it. I think I'm gonna make, I'll probably make 2 of these, actually. I'll make 2 of these, maybe 4. I'll probably make 4 of these, and then I will meet you back. So it doesn't matter what bead you use, as long as you like it in your piece, because it is essentially going to be like this, like a bead spacer, like a metal spacer in between. So I'm gonna make 4. We'll see how that does us, and yeah, I'll meet you back. So I finished my 4, and I'm gonna go ahead and make 2 metallic ones, because I'm going to sandwich the metallic ones in between these right here. So I'm going to make 2 loops of these, and these are 11/0s. Unfortunately, I would have loved to use some 8/0s, but tell me why I have no metallic gold beads in a 6/0 or an 8/0. So I'm definitely going to put that on my Amazon wish list. You know, hopefully I will get some of those in the future, but I have so many beads, it's hard for me to justify buying more. So I'm just gonna go ahead and make some loops that are probably just a little bit smaller in diameter, because I want there to be a little bit of a difference in the sandwich. So when you're looking at the sandwich, the bread, the filling is just gonna be a little bit smaller. All right, so I will go ahead and fix 2 of those, and I'll meet you back and I'll show you what they look like. So here are my beaded rings, and I did go ahead and make these like metallic ones, 2 of those with my seed beads, and then I have 4 of the purple ones and I did find 2 5 to 6 millimeter beads from my stash just to kind of put in the middle of these so that we can kind of like, basically this is just going to give it structure. And so we have those, this is going to go over one, and then you have the top kind of like that, right? And so when you put it on your strand or your string, right, it's going to look very even and not off kilter, which it could do. And so I'm going to zoom you out because I kind of want you to see what I'm working with here. So I'm going to start on one side of the necklace, and I am going to use this Soft Flex Heavy in copper because it's like the only warm tone that I have. And we are going to start stringing. And so I'm going to start with, actually let me start with a smaller. So this will be my first. I've just grouped up a bunch of these, just the length that I want. Right. So you just got to kind of work it. These are very organic shapes, so the drill holes are a little uneven. You want to bring it down. And so here's the first, I segmented these out. I want this to be the first area that I put my purple little component. And so as you see, this is how I've strung it. And when you put it down like that, it's just like a sandwich. Little Sammy. So I separated out 4 of these beads. And it's so organic and pretty. Then we have our next component. And I do put the black and the metallic on around the same kind of area there. I'm just gonna work my beads down, being very gentle because I don't want the coating to come off of this Soft Flex. It's kind of what protects the wires, right? All right, so just being gentle with your necklace. The rest of these are going to be strung up. No particular order for me. It will look how it looks. These are so cool, these beads. Almost done. And then this is our top. And so we kind of left the perfect amount of space, but what I want to show you is that we have a necklace that now has a little focal area. And actually I'm going to turn it like this way around. This is how I will wear it. But now we have something to work with. So these 4 beads will be what's hosting our, essentially our focal area. And so the rest of the necklace will be pretty plain, but I am grabbing this is like one of the Soft Flex's larger crimp tubes. I'm gonna put that down. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna attach the toggle And I'm going to do that by just having these 8/0s as protection. And I don't need the loop to be too big, but I do want like there to be some wiggle room for this toggle. So I put 4, 8, 12. See how it looks. Okay, and the toggle, the 8/0s do go through the toggle. So this is what we're looking like. And I think it looks good. And so what I'm gonna do, I only have a regular crimper, which is like a big no-no. I should have a mighty crimper, but I don't. And I'm just gonna do my best to crimp this giant crimp tube with the strands separated. I'm gonna do my best. It's a very strong crimp tube. I do think I managed to do it. But I need to make the curve. And so just get the mighty crimpers, y'all. You don't want to have to make do with what I'm doing here. That crimp tube is the strongest crimp tube I have ever worked with. It's probably like pure copper, but here's the crimp tube. Just want to make sure it's nice and neat. And I do want this to go through a couple of these beads, as long as it's not sticking out. So I'll probably end up doing like half, so that it doesn't stick out the other side of this bead, but it is like encased into this bead, if that makes sense. All right, so we don't see the tail. I'm just gonna move my beads down. Okay, so make sure your necklace is curved. And holy smokes, that crimp tube was wild and we have to do it again, but it's okay. We will get through it. So you kind of want to make sure you're doing this at a curve, but you don't want there to be any slack. And so I do need to put the crimp tube on first. And then we are going to put on these beads. We just need a loop big enough for the toggle to go through. So I'm gonna guess like probably 30-ish, 25, 30. And I really don't want this to be a struggle getting on. So I'm gonna make the loop nice and wide. One more. Because this toggle is so wide that, and the necklace is so heavy, you really don't, it's really not like it doesn't need to be that tight, so to speak, because the tension alone is going to help it out. So I'm having a little trouble getting through this bead. Let me see what's going on. It's a little tight in there. We may end up having to remove this bead because I'm not trying to fight with it. Here we go. Thankfully it went through. All right, so here's our necklace, and it's okay if there's a little bit of slack, just because we are going to be bead weaving, not bead weaving, but we are going to be using a needle and thread on top of this. So here we go. I definitely need to pick up a mighty crimper for sure, but this one did okay. And so here's our folded crimp, and I do kind of want to see if this will go through this. Sometimes you have to use your pliers. Okay, and so when we go over, this is what the necklace looks like right now. So let me zoom you out. This is what it looks like right now. And so the fun part is actually, this is already structurally sound. We can wear it as is. But we do want to add in our embellishments, and that's going to be in the forms of like some of these buttons that we have. And so I kind of just wanted to map out that embellishment area. This is where we are. And so we are going to take some, we can put our soft licks away. We can take some of this Nymo D. I'm only gonna take probably like 4 feet. So when you put that on the needle and you half it up, it's not that long. And I do have to figure out kind of like what I want to do, because I can either do like wire wrap, which I might do, or I can do the thread and needle, which is another option. So I'll put this off to the side. I'm gonna keep my seed beads out. I'm gonna get some gold wire out, and I'll be right back. So I have my 20 gauge out. And I know for sure that I do want to do a stacked acrylic. And I can't decide if I want to do a stacked green or stacked with pink. I think green. So I'm going to take those, but we have to come up with a centerpiece. And we could do that with wire, but we could also bring in our buttons and see if there's one that we like. That's kind of cute. That's kind of cute. Imagine like a little red kind of. Do we we want to add pink or do we want to add blue? Blue's too big. Love this blue. You do that blue. I think I'm probably going to end up putting pink in. These little buttons are so stinking cute. I'm thinking that the red, I like the pop of red, but it's like, it might be too Christmassy. So how about we just do, kind of like that purple. We'll do this one. It's not going to be a pop, but it's going to be so big that, you know. But what we need to do, like, is there a way, I gotta find a way to make this not like crossed. So I definitely want it to be offset. And I think it will be if we do it tight enough. But what I am going to do is I'm not going to use 20 gauge because I don't think I can do a double on this. So I'm going to get out some, probably 24. So I got out my 24. Let me move these other buttons off to the side. I do love this little combo. I think it's so stinking cute, but I do want it to like sit like this way. And so like there's going to be some finagling. Finagling is a term. And I'm going to take probably, let me see where I'm at, probably 8 inches. Because what I'm going to do is put this in the middle. I'm just going to twist a couple times. I'm going to straighten. So this is what we look like. It's just a little twist. I'm going to put both ends through these acrylic flowers. And I'm going to kind of put it on my piece. And you kind of have to do it this way because otherwise it'll be so hard to judge. And so I'm just wrapping around here, but I'm also gonna wrap around the flower. And so this looks crazy and you're like, oh my God, it's gonna be nuts under there. And it might be, but it also, it's like got a lot of strength. So I'm just gonna cut off. Basically you have to show the wire who's boss. So I'll kind of zoom you in to show you what she looks like under the hood, so to speak. It's not like the prettiest ever, but you go ahead and you just kind of form it. So what you do now is you just kind of figure out how you want your little embellishments to look. And I think I do want to put another one on this side so that like no matter the angle, like it is, the wire is covered. So we could do like a little button like that. Maybe a little, ooh, I kind of like that. Little rustic action. I'm going to take another piece of wire. This one's only like 6 inches or so. So I got that. And I'm gonna cover up this wire work that we did here. I think this looks so super cute already. And there's really no like talent to it other than like your eye for design. And so I just like bringing necklaces to you that you can use any bead in your stash. Like, this is gonna look so super cute no matter what direction it is. And this is just the hardest part, is basically tucking these. See, again, like you're taking up a lot of real estate on this soft flex. So that's why I said it's okay if you have a little bit of slack. Get in there and crunch, man. Okay. All right. So this is our focal for this little area. All right. And you really could leave it at that. Now I'm going to see what else I can do for this necklace. But I'm going to use the same technique, right? And then I will meet you back. Here's kind of how it's going. And I am actually loving it. Could put a nautical theme right there, but maybe not. I'm just kind of showing you like how to attach these. And so I want to clean up the back here on this one. A little bit of wire, if you can see that, or a staple or something. So you just want to take that off. I have my like probably 8 inches of 24 gauge. And I'm just twisting it a little bit to make sure it doesn't run off. And so I don't want to take any more real estate from the middle of the beads here. So I'm just going to wrap it around the flower that we already have and then wrap it back around this button. And I think I'm going to add another bead here, so I'm not going to wrap it around the other one. But having this like just really heavy wrap underneath, and you can wrap it to each other, and that's like the cool part, and you don't have to take a lot of space. And so what I do with these, I just kind of take my pliers, take that tail and wrap it around. I have my Xeron pliers, so I really love that. But instead of taking like that space in between the bead, I'm just using the space that was already created, and then I am wrapping onto the other focal that was previously there. So that kind of helps a lot. And so you can see I did that the same way down here. Oh my gosh, you guys, are you seeing this little beauty? It turned out pretty close to my vision. I think if I were to level it up, I would probably have some like tendrils or like dangles, to where like if you're wearing it like this, like the dangles hang down just on this one side. But overall, I'm very happy with her, and I just love how she turned out. This is so customizable, you guys. Like, you can use whatever chunky beads that you have, and you can just create a little focal area. And so it's like really unique and not really replicable, because if you're using vintage beads, you know, you're not going to have the same vintage beads as somebody else for the most part, right? And so this is going to be a design that looks fresh and new every single time somebody does it, and I can't wait to see if you guys recreate this necklace. Tell me down in the comments below what I should name this necklace, and I hope you are having a great holiday season, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.